Hello everyone. This online grammar class is exclusively for students of 6, 7 and 8. Today we are going to study some of the basic rules of active and passive voice. How to change an active sentence into passive. So before that, it is necessary to learn about the helping verbs, auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verb means helping verbs. Auxiliary verbs can be classified into two. They are primary auxiliary verbs and modal auxiliary verbs. Primary auxiliary verbs can again be classified into three. They are do, be and have. It is very easy to understand that. Don't forget the sentence do behave. Do behave. So you can easily remember the primary auxiliary verbs. It means do, be and have. The auxiliary verbs which come under the category of do, does and did. Be, is, are, was, were. Have, has, have and had. So there are 11 primary auxiliary verbs and helping verbs which under the category of modal: will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must, need, dare, ought to, So there are 11 primary auxiliary verbs. Do, did, does, is, are, was, were, has, have and had. 13 modal auxiliary verbs. Will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must, need, dare, ought to and used to. So normally you will have a doubt. What is the main difference in between primary and modal auxiliary verbs? There is no singular plural difference in modals. For example, he is, but the auxiliary verb will change according to the change in the subject. They are. He has. They have. He was. They were. So the primary auxiliary verbs will change according to the subject. Number of persons. He is, they are. He has, they have. He was, they were. But the modal auxiliary verbs will not change according to the number of persons. For example, he, will, they, will. So the main difference in between primary and modal auxiliary verbs is there is no singular plural difference in modal auxiliary verbs. So you know, auxiliary verb means helping verbs. He is reading a novel. Here, a read is the verb. Is the helping verb because it supports another verb. याद रखना, Is here is auxiliary verb and read is the verb. Look at the sentence. He is a policeman. Here is, it is not an auxiliary verb. It is not a helping verb because it does not help another verb. A khud, it is a verb. Did you get? He is reading a novel. In this sentence, read is the verb and is the helping verb because it supports read. He is a policeman. In this sentence, there is no another verb. So, is itself is a verb. It is not an auxiliary verb here. So, we have learned that there are 11 primary auxiliary verbs and 13 modal auxiliary verbs. Total 24 helping verbs. Among the 24 helping verbs, how many helping verbs are singular and how many helping verbs are plural? And as you know, singular starts with yes. Among these 24 auxiliary verbs, how many auxiliary verbs end with yes? Look, 1 was, has, does, is, ending with yes. So there are 4 singular helping verbs. They are is, was, has, and does. The plural of is are, plural of was, were, plural of has, have, plural of does, do. So we are going to categorize the auxiliary verbs into 4 sections. Number 1 is, are, was, were. Number 2 has, have, had. Number 3 will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must, need, dare, ought to, use it to. All the modal auxiliary verbs. And number 4 do, did, does. Did you get? Now we are going to see what are the words added to these auxiliary verbs in passive sentences. The word added to is, or, was, were is being. The word added to has, have, had is been. The word added to modal is be. Remember, is, or, was, were के साथ जोड़ेंगे being, has, have, had के साथ जोड़ेंगे been, will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might. These models के साथ जोड़ेंगे be. But remember, no word is added to do, did, does. Do, did, does के साथ कोई सा भी word जोड़ेगा नहीं. But we have to replace these helping verbs. Do and does है तो ये words को replace करके do and does के बदले is और are use करना. Did replace करके was और were use करना. Remember, is, or, was, were के साथ we have to add being, has, have, had के साथ been, model के साथ be, लेकिन do, did, does है तो जोड़ेगा नहीं. Do, does replace करके is, are use करना. Did replace करके was और were use करना. Okay. We are learning an easy way to change active sentence into passive. Number 1, identification of object. Number 2, identification of objects as singular or plural. Number 3, identification of auxiliary verb. And number 4, arrange auxiliary verb according to object. So remember one thing, before solving the question, we have to remember these four things. Number one, object को identify करना. Number two, identification of object as singular or plural. ये देखना object एकवचन है बहुवचन है. Number three, identification of auxiliary verb. There is no sentence in English without an auxiliary verb. हर एक सेंटेंस के अंदर auxiliary verb है. Sometimes it is open, sometimes it is hidden. For example, he works hard. There is no open auxiliary verb in this sentence. When there is no auxiliary verb in the sentence, we have to take the auxiliary from the verb. How? First verb के अंदर छुपा हुआ auxiliary है do. Second verb के अंदर छुपा हुआ auxiliary है did. Yes verb means the verb ends with yes. उसके अंदर छुपा हुआ auxiliary है does. Here works ends with yes, so the hidden auxiliary verb is does. And the fourth one, arrange auxiliary verb according to object. Object एकवचन है तो एकवचन auxiliary होगा. Object बहुवचन है तो बहुवचन auxiliary होगा. So we have learned that there are 24 auxiliary verbs. 11 primary and 13 modals. Is, are, was, were, has, have, had, do, did, does. Primary, will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must, need, dare, ought to, used to. Modal auxiliary verbs. Among the 24 auxiliary verbs, 4 are singular. Is, was, has, does. Plural, are, were, do, and have. Number 1, identification of object. Number 2, identification of object as singular or plural. Number 3, identification of auxiliary verb. Number 4, arrange auxiliary verb according to object. Look at the sentence. Ram is writing a letter. So I have already told you the first step to identify an object. How can we identify that there is an object or not? By asking the question what or whom with the verb. What is the verb here? Write. Writing. Ram is writing what? A letter. So you got the question what and the answer a letter. So the letter is the object. He punished the child. Punished is the verb. He punished whom? The child. So we notice that there are two types of objects. One what, another whom. What indicates direct object and whom indicates indirect object. So please notice there are two types of objects, direct object and indirect objects. What answers direct objects and whom answers indirect objects. Look at the sentence. Ram is writing a letter. So first step, identification of object. Ram is writing what? A letter. That is the object. Second step, identify whether the object is singular or plural. It is singular, no doubt. Third step, auxiliary verb. What is the auxiliary verb? Is. Identification of auxiliary verb is. Number 4, arrange auxiliary verb according to object. Actually, A letter is singular. Is also singular. So there is no need to arrange it. Both are singular. Look at the sentence. He makes dolls. He makes what? Dolls. Objects. Dolls, it is plural. Number 3, identification of auxiliary verb. There is no auxiliary verb in the sentence. So when there is no auxiliary verb in the sentence, we have to take the auxiliary from the verb makes, ends with yes. So the hidden auxiliary verb is does. And you got the object, you got the auxiliary verb, and you got the subject. Who does the work? That is subject. Who makes the dolls? He makes the dolls. So he is the subject. Ram is writing a letter. Who is writing a letter? Ram. So Ram is the subject, auxiliary verb, and a letter is the object. Is, और was वर्ब के साथ जोड़ेंगे being, has, have, had के साथ जोड़ेंगे been, model के साथ be. But remember, do और does है तो do does को हटाना, उसी जगह पे is और are. Did है तो did को हटा के उसी जगह पे was और were. So when we change the active voice into passive voice, object becomes the subject, subject becomes the object. He will be changed into him, she, her, I, me, they, them, we, us. He writes letters. The first step, identification of objects. He writes what? Letters. Letters is the object. Singular or plural? No doubt, plural. Auxiliary verb. There is no auxiliary verb in the sentence. Writes is the verb ends with yes, so the hidden auxiliary is does. Subject here is he. And you know that अगर सेंटेंस के अंदर do और does है तो do does को replace करेंगे by using is or are. Here letters plural है, so we got the auxiliary are. So before writing the answer, ये तो जरूरी है object, subject, verb ये तीनों को identify करना. So we are going to study the first rule. Rule number 1. Object plus auxiliary verb plus capital B indicates be, being, being plus third form of verb by plus subject. This is the first rule for sentences starting with a subject. अगर sentence subject से start होगा, so you have to follow this rule. सबसे पहले object लिखना, then auxiliary verb, then be, being, been, then third verb by plus subject. Remember one thing. अगर sentence के अंदर do, did, does है, तो आंसर में be, being, been नहीं आएगा. अगर सेंटेंस के अंदर do, did, does नहीं है तो be, being, been आएगा. So if there are do, did and does inside the sentence, we need not use be, being or being. Otherwise, we have to use it. Look at the sentence. He writes letters. As we have already learned, letters, object, plural, auxiliary verb, writes, does, but here letters plural. So we have to use the plural form of does, that is do. Auxiliary verb मिल गया, ऑब्जेक्ट मिल गया, सब्जेक्ट है, वर्ब है. तो रूल सबसे पहले अगेन रिमेंबर वन थिंग, ऑब्जेक्ट प्लस एक्सिलरी वर्ब प्लस बी बीइंग बीन प्लस थर्ड वर्ब प्लस बाय प्लस सब्जेक्ट. ऑब्जेक्ट नो डाउट लेटर्स वो तो लिख लिया. एक्सिलरी वर्ब डू एंड पहले बोला था अगर डू और डस है तो विल बी रिप्लेस्ड बाय इज और आर. लेटर्स आर. नेक्स्ट वन बी बीइंग बीन. अगर सेंटेंस के अंदर डू डिड डस है तो आंसर में बी बीइंग बीन नहीं आएगा. थर्ड वर्ब राइट रोट रिटन by him. They are making dolls. Identification of object dolls already plural है. Identification of auxiliary verb are itself is plural, so there is no need to change it. सबसे पहले ऑब्जेक्ट dolls. Auxiliary verb are, then be being being आएगा क्योंकि क्वेश्चन के अंदर do did does नहीं है. आर के साथ हम यूज करेंगे being. थर्ड वर्ब make made by them. Raghav has finished the work. First step, identification of object, the work. Raghav has finished what? The work. The work is object. Itself is singular. Second step, identification of auxiliary verb has be singular है. Then सबसे पहले object, the work. Auxiliary verb has. What is the word added to has? Been. Finished. Third verb is also finished by subject. Raghav. Anil wrote 2 stories. First step, identification of object. Anil wrote what? 2 stories. That is the object. Singular or plural? 2 stories, plural. Third one, identification of auxiliary verb. There is no auxiliary verb. Wrote, second verb. Second verb means did. पहले बताया था अगर did है तो did will be replaced by was or were. इधर plural है तब you got auxiliary verb. Verb is wrote. Rule, objects, 2 stories. Auxiliary verb were. Then no need to add being because wrote के अंदर did है, do did does है तो be being been यूज नहीं करेगा. 2 stories were. Third verb written by subjects and it. We organized a program. We organized what? A program. Objects. It is singular. Auxiliary verb. No auxiliary verb. Organized second form. Did है तो was or were. Since it is singular, was आ गया. आंसर ऑब्जेक्ट, ये प्रोग्राम एक्सेलरी वर्ब was, उसके अंदर डिड है, सो बी का जरूरत नहीं है, ऑर्गेनाइजर थर्ड फॉर्म बाय बी का अस. He will send the file. Identification of objects. He will send what? The file. It's singular. Rule. Objects. The file. Auxiliary verb. Will. The word added to will is be. Third form of send. S-E-N-T. Sent by him. So, एक और बार बताएंगे. 24 auxiliary verbs. Among the 24 auxiliary verbs, 11 auxiliary verbs are primary. Do, did, does, is, are, was, were, has, have, had. Modals 13. Will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must, need, dare, ought to, used to. Active passive change करने के टाइम we have to follow 4 steps. सबसे पहले आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट. नंबर 2 आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट एज सिंगुलर और प्लूरल. थर्ड वन आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ एक्सेलरी वर्ब. नंबर 4 अरेंज एक्सेलरी वर्ब अकॉर्डिंग टू द नंबर ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट्स. So there are different kinds of steps, rules. So we have learned the first one. अगर सेंटेंस सब्जेक्ट से शुरू होगा तो यू हैव टू यूज दिस रूल. ऑब्जेक्ट प्लस एक्सिलरी वर्ब प्लस बी बीइंग प्लस थर्ड वर्ब प्लस बाय प्लस सब्जेक्ट. अगर सेंटेंस के अंदर डू डिड डस है तो आंसर में बी बीइंग बी नहीं आएगा. आई थिंक यू हैव गॉट एन आइडिया. टू बी कंटिन्यूड नेक्स्ट क्लास. थैंक यू.